We understand that in the world of kids ministries, it's very different from running a company or a corporation. However, when you're vetting a volunteer, it is so important to have an application process. Some of the reasons for that include, sorry, I just lost my place. It safeguards your church, kids, and team. It gives you a lead-in for conversations, and also it shows the commitment level of your volunteers. So we understand today that many of you probably have an application process in place, and if so, that's awesome. If you don't, we want to give you a few of the steps that we use at One Church, and then we'll have further resources available for you. If you want to see one of us, we'll get you hooked up.
So this is the administrative side of doing kids ministry, and it's really important to have an application process because it keeps you, your kids, your families, and your church safe, okay? So if you don't want to spend a lot of time here, but you want to take care of business and do it right. So start with a checklist so you know what you need to do. And here's some things that you can put on your checklist. They need to fill out an application if they're interested. They need a starting meeting, right? A resource sheet that you can develop yourself or find online of what are their skills, their talents, what do they want to do, what are their interests, and find out about who they are. Make sure that you also put on your checklist that they need to get fingerprinted, that they need to meet with the ministry director or pastor in charge. This just kind of helps keep you on task. So we found using a checklist helps everything stay in order and we don't miss anything.
Absolutely. And then going into the actual application itself, we begin ours with a general and family information part. So obviously that would be their email, their contact information. I want to know if it's not okay to call them at work with a crazy idea. I need to know that. So I want to know the best time to call. The other thing, I want to know what matters most to them. And for many of them, that's family members. So I want to know who their kids are. I want to know when their birthdays are. I want to know what matters to them so that I can help celebrate them and honor them and be there for their family as a whole.
Okay, also in your application packet, you should have some information that you can ask them about their education, if where they're going to school, are they college students, are they high school students, what's their educational background, and where they work. That helps you understand who they are. Also an area of special skills, and also asking very carefully if they have maybe some health issues, especially, if not asking, what is your health issue? Like, don't do that. I'm an HR professional, so don't ask anybody if they have health issues. But you can ask them, is there anything maybe we should know that you may not be able to do? Or you may need some accommodation for. So just ask that in a gentle way in your application so that if they need accommodations to be able to do what they need to do, or you don't put them in an uncomfortable situation if you ask them to do something that they're not able to do. So try to get that out in a nice, gentle way. And then carefully ask about their salvation experience. Where do they go to church? Have they accepted Jesus? We have people in our church that serve in ministry that aren't yet or have not yet been saved, but they love children and it's a place of learning for them. But we want to know that so we can minister to them as well, right? Have they been baptized? Because sometimes, that gets missed along the way. And then you can also help serve your volunteers while your volunteers are serving your kids.
To back up just a little bit, there's a section that the district includes in their volunteer application of personal information. And again, this is a very sensitive area, and we have 3 places that they can check. They can either check that, yes, we're going to fill this out, or they check, I'd rather respond to this in person in my personal interview with the pastor. And for this area, it has to deal with convictions. We want to know if there's anything in their past that could hinder them, harm the ministry. And obviously we realize that God is a God of saving grace. And so we treat that very delicately. If you're looking for a place to start, the district has a great application as a starting ground. You can find that at NCNkids.com. We took theirs, we took Planet Shakers, we took the Houses Modesto's. We we blended it with a bunch of different churches and then added, like Shelly said, a section that has church information. We want to know, have they been attending another campus that we don't know about? And we have no idea that they're connected with one of our other One Church campuses. And then she mentioned the salvation. We want to know, are they considering being a partner? Many people get involved in kids ministries and they have no desire to be a part of any other part of the church. And we don't want to create that. We want vision and we want loyalty to our pastor. We serve at the pleasure of our pastor. And so what we're going to do is we're going to help them continue to become a partner with the church. And this is their place to serve within the body of Christ, but they are part of a bigger body. So we want to make sure that we're walking them through what some churches call membership, we call partnership. And we're very passionate about that.
Now, it's kind of a formal process that you want to keep informal. So in your application, you need to ask for references, right? And then we need to call those references and make sure that we're vetting them in a nice way, and also go through the fingerprint process, which someone else is going to present on. But the release of liability is really, really important at the end of your application process. Use the district form. It's great. And always make sure that it says in there that you can use their photos. That's really important. You want to be able to use photos, and you can include that in your release of liability. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. The checklist really helps to keep you on track, to make sure you've covered everything that you'd like to cover and that you need to cover. And lastly, when you're calling for references, have some set questions already prepared that you use with every single person that you call. And when you're meeting with them and you're having an interview as to what their interests are, have those questions prepared too. That way it just helps you stay on point and you don't miss anything.
Lastly, we know that all of our leaders should be live scanned if they're working with kids and over the age of 18. That's part of our application as well. We know that other people are going to be hitting on this topic throughout the morning. And so if you have any further questions for Shelly or myself, please feel free to see us. We'd love to email you what we have so far. We're actually getting ready to take this to our campus pastors this Monday and finalize this process for our youth and kids departments. But we'd love to just chat with you. The important thing is start somewhere and start the process somewhere. Thanks so much.